It's just spinning. Oh, I'm live. I'm live. I'm live. Okay. Hold. Okay. Tech challenges seem to be following me everywhere. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I've been messing around with Wi-Fi. I had no Wi-Fi for some reason. Hopefully you can hear me. Please give me a thumbs up or a note in the chat if you can hear me. I'm really hopeful you can. Gosh. Ah, you'll need 2 blocks for today's practice. Okay, yay, thank you, Emily. Haley, oh gosh, good. Gosh, it doesn't seem like, what I do. This form, whatever this interface does not seem to like me whenever I have to teach live. Whew. All right. I want to make sure I keep everybody's schedule fairly intact. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here in just a minute or so. Thanks for your patience as I was messing around with Wi-Fi challenges, and hopefully it stays on. Worst case scenario, this will be filmed and on the site. All right, so you'll need 2 blocks. Thank you to those of you that are here, and we will go ahead and get started. Let me make sure that the camera is in good position. Looks like it is. My other camera is filming. We're in business. All right. Because this is also living kind of permanently on the Yoga Medicine online platform, I will be doing a more formal introduction, just as usual, for those of you that have practiced with me in this format. Let me just set my watch. All right. Deep breaths. No tech challenges. Welcome to Yoga Medicine Online. My name is Valerie Nothick. For today's practice, you will need 2 blocks, and that is really about it, unless you like to have other things on hand just to help you stay comfortable in your practice. So go ahead and make sure that you have those props on hand. And we're going to use them right off the bat. We're going to come into a restorative heart opening position for our kind of entry into the practice. Don't worry, we will be moving quite a bit in practice today, but we're going to start using the blocks as a way to expand across the front line of the body in a very supported way. So you have a couple of options for how you can set up your props. You'll set them up either like so, with the one closest to you on this medium height and the one that will rest underneath the occipital ridge of your skull at its highest height. Now, if those feel like it's too much, you can knock each one of these down 1 level so that whichever one is closest to you is lower than the one that's further away. So be willing to play around with it and find a position that suits you. So we'll lay back over these two props. The one that's that's closest to you will rest right underneath the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. And then the one that's further away will rest underneath the occipital ridge of the skull. Legs can be in any orientation that suits. And just find a space here that you can arrive. We won't be here for an extraordinarily long period of time, but this is really just an opportunity to give yourself a few moments to arrive on your mat. Set an intention for your practice. I have an intention, and I will share that with you in a moment. But just take a moment to take stock. Maybe do a full body scan. Notice how you're feeling. For some of you, this might be the beginning of your day. For some of you, it might be towards the end. And just give yourself permission here to practice in a way that really suits whatever space you're coming from or going to, really taking whatever you need from the practice. And just become aware of your breathing to the extent that it is breath to be expansive. So there's this expansive quality to the ribs. You have this space here in this position to let the ribs have a lot of space. The lungs have space. So let the body create that expansive breath. As we move through today's practice, from a physical perspective, we'll be playing with the differences between expansion or creating space, letting go, and contraction or holding in, getting smaller. And so we'll be playing with those two different ends of the spectrum. So letting go and holding on, or expansion and contraction. In this particular position, the front body is in this expanded position. We're creating space, and we'll alternate that with aspects of contraction and getting smaller and compact in a few moments. And playing with that physical aspect of creating space and contraction. We're also playing with this more mindful intention of playing with what we are able to let go of and what we need to hold on to. Oftentimes, we hold on to and contract our bodies when we feel anxious or fearful. And sometimes we think of holding on to things as this way of creating strength. And it can be to some degree, but oftentimes, sometimes, letting go might be, and creating expansion might be the stronger of the two options. So just let that land. Take two more breaths here. Now, if the knees are not already bent, go ahead and bend them. We're going to roll off to one side. It doesn't matter which one. Just really, really mindfully supporting yourself down into like a fetal position. Coming to rest on that side for a moment. Feeling that opposite, that contraction of pulling the knees towards the chest as much as you And then, without a lot of energy expenditure, you might reach behind you, grab onto your blocks, and just gently move them out of the way. But have them within reach, because we're going to use one or both of them for this next piece. So we're going to slide at least one block underneath the back of the pelvis here, and have it be on its lowest height. So it's going to be on its most stable setting. And this might be enough height for you, but if it isn't, know that you can stack the second block on top of the first. Again, both of them should be on their lowest height, so it's this nice stable base. And again, just another way to create some space from our knees down to the crown of the head. You might take an opportunity here to reach the arms up overhead. Keep the knees bent to start, letting the feet be firmly on the floor. Take one more inhale here. And then on the exhale, draw the right knee in towards your chest. Hold on to that right shin or knee with one or both hands. Make sure that you feel pretty stable on the blocks there, because I'm going to ask you to draw the left knee towards you as well. But only hold on to the right side. Extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. It doesn't need to be super straight there. And then look at your left toes. You want to be able to see them throughout this whole thing. So just start to lower the left leg down to your degree. I want you to still be able to see the length of your legs and your toes and find your stopping point. And then just start to lift and lower that left leg. So we're just trying to turn on and activate the psoas, but in a lengthened position here. Let the back of the skull rest, soften around the eyes and the jaw. And when we first get started, the movement of that left leg might be quite a lot up and down, might be like 4 to 6 inches up and down. But as we linger here over the next few breaths, I invite you to make that lifting and lowering smaller and smaller. So it's almost as if I were standing next to you, I might hardly be able to see that leg moving up and down. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now keep hold of your right knee or shin and let the left leg lower all the way down towards the floor. You can bend the left knee as much as you need to. And here, just think about drawing the right knee closer towards your chest and sending the left toes away from your right knee to whatever degree you can. Just creating now some openness, some expansion through the front of your left hip. Notice that as we expand and contract on the front side of the body, or expand rather, and release on the front side of the body, there's this contraction on the back side of the body. One more breath. Now to switch sides, let's first bend our left knee, put the left foot on the floor. Now you're hopefully a little bit more steady. Lower the right foot down to meet the left and just take a feeling moment here between sides. Notice the difference between your right and left sides. Notice if you need to reposition yourself over the blocks. Again, you want to be nice and steady here. Keeping your right foot on the floor, draw the left knee in, hold on to the left shin or knee with the left hand or with both hands. And when you feel stable, draw the right knee in as well. Extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Look at your toes and begin to extend your right leg forward to your degree. You want to be able to see the length of your leg and your right toes the whole time. And just start to lift and lower. And it can be a big movement to start. Just getting the feel for it, feeling it out. You're balancing on these blocks here. And then over the next few breaths, just begin to decrease the range of motion on that right leg. So you're lifting and lowering smaller and smaller. Like you know that you're doing it, but maybe someone standing next to you it wouldn't be a really obvious movement there. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep hold of your left knee or shin and let the right leg lower. You can bend the right knee so that the right foot can find the floor. And then there's that option to increase the opening through the right side of the front of the right hip by drawing the left knee a little closer towards your chest and reaching out through your right heel. Just creating a little bit more of an active stretch here instead of a passive one. Big breath into the front side of the body. Take one more breath. Feeling this sense of expansion through the front of the right hip and contraction through the front of the left hip. And then the transition, bend the right knee, put the sole of the right foot on the floor, release the left foot down to meet the right. Take a breath in here in the supported bridge pose and a breath out. We're going to press down into our feet to lift the hips up enough to slide the blocks out of the way. You'll need one block for this next piece, so just have it be within reach. Take a moment here, though, to start or just to transition, maybe by washing the knees from side to side. So again, just taking a little bit of counter movement here if you need for that supported bridge and psoas work. So we've done a lot of expansion through the front side of the body through those last two postures. We're going to start to do a little bit of contraction. So grab one of your blocks. And to start, we're going to bend the knees, bring the knees up over the hips, draw the navel center down towards the spine, and just begin to place the block, the long rectangular edge there. So it would be at its like middle height if it was sitting on the floor. Place that edge right against your thighs, and then just place your forearms on the other side. So the block is being held in place between your forearms and the tops of your thighs. Now actively press both the legs and the arms into the block. And stay with me here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now you can stay here with the block in this orientation, or maybe turn it so it would be on its lowest height, which might require you to reach a little further with the arms. It might even require you to lift the back of the skull up off the floor. And now find that contraction again, pressing arms and legs into the block for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the back of the skull rest. Keep the block though. And we're going to use one of our hands. Let's use our left hand to just slide the block over so it's just supported between the right thigh and your right forearm. Now extend the left leg up towards the ceiling, just like we did when we were in that supported bridge pose. And reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. So left arm and left leg are reaching up towards the ceiling, and the block is being held in between your right forearm and your right thigh. Now, on your inhale, reach the left arm up and overhead and extend the left leg forward to your degree. You might bend the left knee and just reach the left toes or the left heel down towards the floor. Your call. That's going to be your inhale. And then the exhale, draw the left arm and leg back towards each other. And keep going. Inhale, reach the left arm and leg away from each other. And exhale, draw them back in. Now keep pressing into the block with your right side. Inhale, the left arm and leg expand open. Exhale, bring them closer in. Let's do 4 more together. Inhale and exhale. Squeeze that block with your right side. Inhale and exhale. I am with you. I'm feeling it too. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Once more. Inhale and exhale. Now from here, bend both knees, slide the block back so it's supported by both thighs and you're holding it in between thighs and forearms. Kind of contract into the tight little ball here. Squeeze everything in towards that block for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down the back of the skull. Use your right hand to slide the block a little bit more over towards the left leg. So now the block is being squeezed in between your left forearm and your left thigh. Reach the right leg up towards the ceiling, right arm up towards the ceiling. We have a second side. Stay with me. Feel that contraction through the left side. And now inhale, open through the right side. Exhale, draw right arm and leg back together. Keep squeezing the block. Inhale, open the right side. Exhale, close the right side. Whew, I am with you. Inhale, open. Smiling faces. Exhale, close. Let's do 4 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale. Holy cow. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. I'm smiling. Smile with me. And exhale. We can. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. One final time. Bend both knees. Slide the block so it's on top of both thighs and in between your both forearms. Tuck the chin in towards your chest. Get super compact. Squeeze everything into the block for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release down. Lovingly thank the block. Set it aside. Provided us with some useful information. And then just take a full body stretch here. Reaching arms up overhead. Extending the legs long. Feeling that difference between that contracted ab work and now just opening and expanding. Whew. Now we are going to come up to hands and knees. So however you want to get there, you might hug the knees in towards your chest if you're feeling a little energetic and rock and roll your way up to sit and come onto hands and knees. And some of you may just opt to roll to one side and press your way up. Hopefully feeling a little bit of warmth and activation through the core there and kind of solidifying our experience of the difference between contraction and expansion. I'm also going to suggest that you move your blocks towards the top of your mat so that they're there and ready for you to lovingly grab onto them when we come to that part of the practice. So from here, let's tuck our toes, sink the hips just slightly back towards our heels. Walk the hands a little closer to your knees than they would be if we were in kind of traditional tabletop. And then turn the hands so that the fingertips are pointed towards the knees. And as you lean the hips back towards your heels, you're getting a little stretch through the bottoms of the feet, but also just a little forearm stretch. Now, if the fingertips don't go completely back to face the knees, that's totally fine. Just take them to your degree. You don't want to do anything forceful here. Press down through the knuckles. You can let the heels of the hands lift away, kind of rock slightly back and forth here. Not a big movement, but just creating some opening through the wrists, just giving our wrists and hands a little bit of love here. And also we'll stretch through the bottoms of the feet. Awesome. Now from here, we'll come back into more of a traditional tabletop stance or space between hands and knees. You can untuck your toes. And we're going to turn our hands so that the fingertips are pointed towards each other and you're going to be on the backs of the palms. So I'll just turn towards the camera for one moment so you can see what I'm talking about here. And then from here, what I'm going to suggest that we attempt to do is try to keep our elbows as straight as possible and begin to curl all of your fingers in towards the center of your palm and then wrap the thumb around the top, trying to create a fist. Keep the elbows as straight as possible. Feels awkward, at least for me it does. And then spread through the hands, spread all the fingers apart, and then try to make a fist again. And just take a few rounds of that. Noticing if it gets a little bit more accessible every time. It's one that just is so awkward to me. Once we create this attempt to keep the elbows straight and the back of the palms on the floor, making the fist just feels really challenging and interesting. But find that contraction and release through the hands. Awesome. And then sink back towards your heels just to get the weight off the hands so that you can come into more of a traditional position here. Press down through the knuckles. Hands are pointed in more of the default position, fingertips forward. And then just begin to keep pressing down through the knuckles, lift the palms. Keep the knuckles of the fingertips on the floor and then lower the heels of the hands. And just take a few rounds of that. So you're shifting the weight slightly forward and back. Again, just giving the wrists and hands a little bit of love there. Awesome. Press down through all knuckles. We're back in tabletop. Let's just take a few cat-cows here. So on the inhale, look forward, let the chest pull through the gate of the arms. Exhale, tuck the chin in, round the spine. Press in between the shoulder blades. 2 more of those. Inhale. And exhale. Once more. Inhale, create expansion through the front side of the body, contraction through the back. And exhale, the opposite, expansion through the back and contraction through the front. Inhale to neutral, tuck your toes. Press down through each of your knuckles. Find that like in between spot between cat and cow there. And then cinch in around the waist and lift the knees up off the floor a couple of inches, coming into this floating tabletop. Stay with me here. You can always lower the knees to the ground as often as you need. Breathe with me for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift the hips, downward facing dog. First down dog of the practice. Try it on for size. Notice how it feels. Take whatever organic movement you might need here to help it feel like home. And then we'll just start a little bit of movement series, keeping the hands and feet in the same position. Inhale, lift the heels. Strip on your tippy toes, still in down dog. Exhale, bend the knees to hover. Inhale, pull forward to plank. Exhale, lower down the knees and sink back to child's pose. Take an inhale here. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees to hover. Inhale, pull forward to plank. Exhale, lower down the knees, sink back to child's pose. Keep the toes tucked. Take an inhale here. Exhale, lift the hips to dog. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees to a hover point. Inhale, pull forward to plank. Exhale, lower the knees, sink back to child's. Now we're going to reverse that. So inhale, pull forward to plank. Exhale, bend the knees to a hover point and sink the hips back so you're in like a floating child's. And then inhale to dog. Exhale, lower down the knees, come back to child's. Inhale, pull forward to plank. Exhale, bend the knees to a hover point, sink back to like a floating child's pose. Inhale, lift the hips to dog. Exhale, lower the knees, child's pose. One more time. Inhale, draw forward to plank. Exhale, lower the knees to hover, sink the hips back, floating child's. Inhale, down dog, and pause here. Take a breath in. And a breath out, hopefully feeling some warmth through the shoulders and the legs. Inhale, lift the heels, and on your exhale, take lots of little steps forward to your hands, pausing in a ragdoll shape at the top of the mat. Take a breath in and a breath out. Press down through your feet and begin to lift and rise all the way up to stand. Sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's take a sun A. Inhale, rise the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees as much as is useful. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, step back to plank. Inhale here in plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or up dog, your call. Exhale back, down dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, lift up high on your toes. Exhale, bend the knees, step or float forward, feet to hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, arms rise, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to plank. Take an inhale in plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to cobra or up dog. And exhale back, down dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift high on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, step or float forward, feet to hands. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, arms rise, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, Utkatasana, sink the hips down low. I'm gonna grab onto one of our blocks here. and place that block on top of your thighs. Let the block be in between their thighs and your elbows. So bring the hands to like a prayer position and sink the hips back. Pull the chest forward. Hug everything into the block. So press the elbows into the block, press the thighs into the block. Use that leverage to help draw the chest forward. Feel this expansion through the collarbones here. Couple breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. Set the block down. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale. Let's step back and go straight to down dog. Inhale your right leg high. On the exhale, bend the knee in the air, open the hip. Find that nice expansion through the right side waist. A little bit of contraction on the left, but press evenly through both hands. Inhale, straighten the lifted leg, close down the hip, and on the exhale, take your right knee towards your right tricep. Contraction on the right side waist. Inhale, send that right leg up and back, three-legged dog. We're gonna do that twice more. Exhale, right knee to right tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee, right tricep. Now pause here with me for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Try not to go into default mode. Hug the right knee in towards your chest. And then step the right foot forward. Grab onto your blocks, or one block rather, and take that block up and put it right on top of your right thigh. And take your right elbow to the top of your right block. Breathe here, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Press back through your left heel. Press right elbow into block. Find that contraction through the right side and try to create as much expansion on the left side as possible. Take one more breath. Now from here, just reach down, grab onto your block, put it in between your hands, or in between your palms rather. Try not to hug around the sides of the block with your fingertips. Let it be just between your palms. And reach your arms straight up. Take one more inhale here. Now on your exhale, take that block back to the top of your right thigh. Take your left elbow over on top of that block and find a twist. Now it might be just reaching your right arm up or back. Just notice this contraction and how the block gives us a lot of different information. We use different muscles here than we would if we just came into kind of our standard default twisted lunge. Take one more breath. And grab onto that block with both hands. Inhale, both arms high. Crescent lunge one more time. Now exhale, release that block down to the floor. Let your left hand land. Right arm rises, find a twisted lunge. Now take an inhale here. And on your exhale, we're going to step the right foot back into side plank. Left knee can be on the ground for more support. Inhale here, side plank on the left. On the exhale, lower down the right hand and just rotate over to side plank on the right. Inhale there. On your exhale, lower down the left forearm and come into forearm side plank on the left. And then exhale, lower down your right forearm and come into forearm side plank on the right. Take an inhale there, smiling faces. Exhale, lower down both forearms. You're in forearm plank. And thrilled and happy to be here. Breathe. Lower down the knees, lower down the pelvis, and find yourself in Sphinx pose. Press down through the tops of the feet, draw the chest forward. So getting this expansion on the front side of the body, but this contraction through the back. Think about curling pubic bone to low ribs. Now this might be plenty for some of you. And for some of you, you might like to place the palms flat and straighten the elbows a little or a lot, finding something more like seal pose. Your call. Sphinx or seal for 3, for 2, and 1. Lower down onto the forearms if you're not there already. Lower all the way down and just let the hands slide right underneath your shoulders, maybe slightly behind the shoulders, depending on your structure. Elbows pointed straight up towards the ceiling. Tuck the toes. Take an inhale there. And then on your exhale, press up and back, down dog. You might go through a child's pose for more support. Breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale your left leg high. Same thing, second side. Exhale, bend the left knee in the air, open the hip. Inhale, straighten the lifted leg, close down the hip, and on your exhale, 3 times, left knee to left tricep. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee, left tricep. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee, left tricep. Pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw the left knee in toward your chest. Step the left foot in between your thumbs. Grab onto one of your blocks. Rise up into the beginnings of crescent lunge and place that block on top of your left thigh, and just place your left elbow on top of that block. So you're going to keep that block in place. Rise the right arm up. Press the left elbow into left block. So you're creating contraction on the left side and expansion on the right. How much space can you get between your right fingertips and your right heel? Just noticing how the pose changes when we start to use this prop. Take one more breath. And then grab onto your block, put it in between your palms, rise the arms, finding more of a traditional crescent lunge shape, and just pressing the palms, not the fingers, into the block. Take one more inhale there. Exhale, take that block, put it back on top of your right thigh, or left thigh rather. Now right elbow over to hold that block in place, and find whatever twist your body finds useful using the block. It's going to be different. Press elbow into block. Find that contraction. And use that concept of like contracting to help find a little bit of expansion. Take one more breath. From here, grab onto the block, sweep it up overhead one more time. And then exhale, hands to the mat, set the block down. Right hand's gonna stay down, left arm is high. Who's smiling? Me. Hope you are too. From here, right hand stays down, step the left foot back. Vashisthasana, right side. Inhale. Exhale, left hand down, Vashisthasana left. Inhale. Exhale, right forearm down, side plank on the forearm or right side. And then exhale, left forearm down, forearm side plank on the left. Lower down the right forearm, forearm plank. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower down the knees, pelvis. Land yourself in Sphinx pose. Curl pubic bone to low ribs. Either stay here with the forearms on the ground or maybe seal pose. Take a breath in and a breath out. Lower yourself down. Hands slide underneath your shoulders. Press up and back. Down dog. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift up high on your toes. On your exhale, bend your knees, step or float forward, feet to hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, grab your block. Take it in between your palms, rise the arms high for a moment. And then exhale, bring that block to the tops of your thighs. Elbows to the top of the block, just like when we were on our back and just like when we were in Utkatasana earlier, just find that hugging in towards the block and just notice how that changes things. As you hug in towards the block, think about expanding your collarbones forward. Now, just like when we were on our backs in that abdominal series, we're going to take our left hand, slide the block over to the right. So the block is going to be in between your right elbow and your right thigh. Left hand can go to the left hip. We're going to begin to press down into our left foot, come up onto the right tippy toes. Keep that block in place as you draw the right knee up towards your chest. Take the right knee out to the side. Bring it back to center. Lower back down into Utkatasana. You're going to keep the block right where it is. Shift the weight to your right foot and lift up onto the left tippy toes. Now we're going to just tap the left toes back, like you're going to step back into crescent lunge, but don't do it. And then bring the left foot back forward. And tap 4 more times. Tap it back and tap it forward. Tap it back and forward. Last 2. And forward. Now this time, tap it back and then come into something that looks kind of like crescent lunge. And just breathe here. We were in this position in the last series. Now all we're going to do here is spin the left heel flat and come into side angle with the block in between our right elbow and our right thigh. Left arm up and overhead. Now, take an inhale here in side angle. On your exhale, we're going to shift the weight back into our left knee and straighten our right leg. Let the right toes lift away from the floor, but keep your block in place. And then inhale back, side angle. Exhale, almost into like a little skandasana. And then inhale into side angle. Last time, exhale into skandasana. Inhale into side angle. Here we're going to pause. You might stay here, or if you're feeling playful, we're going to come into half moon, a variation with the block. Yes, the right knee will need to stay bent. Hug the right elbow and the right thigh into the block. Use that leverage to spin the chest open, expand through the chest. Breathe with me for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. See if you can step back into side angle. We're going to take the block in between our palms, lift it up and overhead, straighten your right leg, and take sky archer with the arms up overhead. Get space through the right side. So it was so contracted over here, and now find that space. Take one more inhale there. One more exhale. Inhale. Now exhale. Hands down to the mat, set the block aside. Left hand stays down, right arm reaches up. Twisted lunge. Same series as before, step the right foot back, side plank on the left. Lower down the right hand, side plank on the right. Lower down the left forearm, forearm side plank on the left. Lower down the right forearm, forearm side plank on the right. Lower down both forearms, forearm plank. Lower down the knees, the pelvis, find Sphinx pose. From here, lower down the chest, sweep the arms back by your sides. They may just hover by the hips, or you may clasp the hands behind the back depending on your structure. Contraction on the back side of the body, lift the chest. And if it's right for you, lift the legs. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower down the legs first. If the hands are clasped, release them. Bend the elbows. Slide those hands right back underneath your shoulders. Take an inhale there. Exhale, press up and back. Down dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, lift high on your toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Step or float forward, feet to hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Grab onto your block. Inhale, Utkatasana. Block between the hands to start. Exhale, lower down that block so it's right on top of the thighs. Place the elbows on top of the block. Hug everything in. Use that hugging in to simultaneously expand through the collarbones. Breathe in. Breathe out. Option here, maybe lift up onto your tippy toes. Notice how that changes things. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower down the heels. Take your right hand to slide that block over towards the left thigh only. Block is in between your left elbow and your left thigh. Right hand to right hip. Shift the weight onto the right foot and begin to lift the left knee up. Keep the block where it is, best you can. Take that left knee out to the side. Bring it back to center. Lower down the left foot and begin to shift the weight onto the left foot and lift up onto the right tippy toes. Tap the right foot back, just tap it, and then tap it forward. A few more. Tap it back and tap it forward. Tap it back and tap it forward. You got it. One more full time. Tap it back. Tap it forward. And then this time, tap it back and find yourself in that kind of loose crescent lunge. That's that variation with the block on top of the left thigh. Keep hugging the block, spin the right heel flat. So you're coming into side angle. Take an inhale there. On your exhale, keep the block as best you can. Bend the right knee, sink the hips back, and lift the ball of the left foot up. Let's go back and forth a few times. Inhale, side angle. Exhale into this weird Skandasana. Inhale, side angle. Exhale into Skandasana variation. One more time. Inhale, side angle. Exhale, Skandasana variation. Now inhale into side angle, pause. You might stay here or shift into a variation of half moon, hugging the block. Using that leverage with the block to expand open on the right side and spin the chest up towards the ceiling. Embrace all the wobbling. Four more. 3, 2, and 1. Release back into side angle. Grab onto your block, place it in between your palms, straighten the left leg, and take Sky Archer, reaching the arms back. From contraction to expansion in that left side. Take one more inhale. Exhale. Hands back down to the mat, set the block aside. Right hand down, left arm high. Last time here, step the left leg back. Vashisthasana right side. Lower down the left hand. Vashisthasana left. Lower down the right forearm. Side forearm plank right. Lower down the left forearm. Side forearm plank left. Lower down the right forearm. You're in forearm plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down the knees, the pelvis. Find yourself in Sphinx pose. Again, you can stay in Sphinx, seal. You can take the variation of Shalabhasana that we did last time we were on the floor. And the option here, there'll be one more option to choose from. Lower yourself down if you're with me. Sliding the hands back by the hips. Bend the knees and don't reach for your ankles just yet, almost like a skydiver pose. Feel all this contraction through the back side of the body. Feel this expansion through the front side of the body. And then maybe grab your ankles and take a more traditional Dhanurasana, floor bow. And breathe. Slow, steady breath. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, release down. Hands come underneath your shoulders. Press back, taking either down dog or puppy pose or child's pose. Which one do you need? Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. If the knees are not already on the ground, allow them to lower down. We're going to grab on to our blocks. You may choose one or two. And we're going to come all the way down onto our backs. Setting up for a supported bridge pose. So similar to what we did right at the beginning. Sliding a block underneath the back of the pelvis. Again, you might choose to stack two blocks here. Just make sure that they are on their most stable height. Have a nice stable base. And you might choose to just linger here, keeping the knees bent, feet on the floor, maybe sweep the arms up overhead. Find just this sense of openness and expansion. And for some of you, it might feel really nice to extend both of the legs long. Still supported by the block behind the pelvis. Just finding this way into this supported expansion, this supported spaciousness. Bring your awareness to your breath. And how you feel now, as opposed to or in contrast to how you felt when we assumed this position very early in class. Let the breath be spacious and supportive. Feel the breath washing over the back of the throat. Take one more breath here. And if you did straighten the legs, just bend the knees and put the soles of the feet back on the floor. If the arms are overhead, let them sweep down by the hips. Press down into the feet to lift the hips enough to slide the block or blocks out of the way. You can set the block aside, or for some of you, it might be useful to have a block to place either in between the knees or the thighs, or just available for a spinal twist. So if you know you need a block, have it handy. Draw the knees in towards your chest. Let the arms be out like goalposts or like a T, depending on your space. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, let the knees drop over to the left. This is where a block, either underneath the bottom leg or in between the knees, might be useful. Noticing how the block can be a tool to mix things up, make it a little bit more challenging at times. But it can also be such a wonderful tool to support us. Take one more full round of breath. And then just start to find some gentle tone to the core before drawing the knees back through center and switching over to the other side as you're ready. Supporting yourself with the props as is useful. Take one more full round of breath. Just find some gentle activation and tone through the core there and begin to draw the knees back in through center. Give yourself a squeeze if there's any final shape that you might need before you transition into Shavasana. Absolutely take it. And maybe some of you might opt for that restorative heart opener in place of a more traditional Shavasana. So choose wisely. Allow yourself to settle in whatever shape you are choosing. Whatever shape you chose. Come back to this awareness to your breath. Let it be expansive and spacious and supportive, encouraging a sense of surrender with each exhale. If your schedule allows, feel free to linger in Shavasana for as long as you comfortably can. If, however, you're on more of a schedule, begin to bring some awareness to your fingers and your toes. Place your left hand on your heart, right hand just below the rib cage. Bring your awareness back to the beating of your own heart and the movement of the diaphragm and the ribs and the lungs as you breathe in and out. Feel that expansion and contraction that occurs with each and every breath. And before you move anymore, I'd like to share with you a bit of inspiration that inspired this intention for me. It's from Ann Landers. Some people believe holding on and hanging in there are signs of great strength. However, there are times when it takes much more strength to know when to let go and then to actually do it. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Hug the knees in towards your chest, giving yourself a hug, telling yourself thank you for making it onto your mat and spending this time practicing. And then roll onto side and gently make your way into a seated position. I honor the place in each of you in which the entire universe dwells, and I honor the place in each of you that is of love, of truth, of light, and of peace. Thank you for your practice today, and I'll see you soon. Sending lots of love out there into the world. Thanks for practicing. Hope you're all feeling good. You're welcome, Lee. I'll see you soon.